Welcome to Khenpo Tokpa Tulku's lecture. He let me know that he will speak for an hour and then we can have some question and answer session. So that's it.
Okay.
And he will be teaching in English, I think. That's okay, probably.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say Tashidilek to everyone. Happy to see you. And maybe I will do short prayer at the beginning, and then maybe short prayer at the end. So I will be doing some short supplication at the beginning and then some dedication prayer at the end. So you can just Yababunde Namdulishin, Yunde Gunje, Yambambo, Sunche, Gunje, Nye, Jibun, Tamje, Kenda, Guchan, Oyezolim, Bemen, Dombo, Gave Namduran, Jalunje, Tuzobit, Yunde, Sobarwa, Bemaju, Shabla, Guchan. Nisum Demayjum, Kinye, Shake, Gave Yabu, Ganjas, and the goods. Kumban Jambashuna ye Shabe Gasranje Meshe Bench Kinzekala Lundri Kilkoreke, Lisheveke, Mumbe Members, so Sheke, Betala Kacheke, Kunye Yase, Mepam Chekich. Gardin Deshe Gosum Gupete, Naga Chusun, Dovarajin. Okay, so my English is a little bit self-taught English, so I don't know, but I hope you can understand me. Maybe for 1.5 hours, I will talk for 1 hour, and then maybe in half an hour, if you have any questions or anything, just feel free, we can talk and discuss any kind of questions. Okay, maybe I say a little bit about myself so you get a small picture of Tibetan Buddhism monk. I'm from Nepal, and I was born in Nepal in the Himalayan region, and where you have this Tibetan ethnics, but according to the law, we are in Nepal, and I'm one of that kind of ethnic groups. And Buddhism and religious is very part of lifestyle. It was very normal. Still, it is now in the many Himalayan regions of Nepal. And I became a monk in Kathmandu in the monastery when I was 9 years old. mostly the first questions people ask is, did you become a monk by yourself or your parents? Yeah, this is the most frequently asked questions. And I think it's like 50-50 because I was 9 years old, so I really don't know much about, but since I was born in a very religious society, especially my family, so it was very normal for me. And we value a lot spiritual path, so anything that is to do with spiritual is considered as important and valuable. So of course I was happy. But also the village that I was born and the monastery is quite far, so I feel a little bit like uncomfortable being apart from family and this kind of thing. So yeah, so I was in monastery, and then in monastery first you learn a little bit reading, writing, basic things, and then later you study some philosophy text we call the Kshetra, that is the higher education monastic education curriculum. It takes around 9 years, and when you finish all the studies, then you finish your education part in the monastery, and then you can go to do your practice individually, or mostly people go to retreat. You can stay in the monastery. And I finished my study a few years ago, and now I'm as a teacher. I'm teaching to the monks. So this time we have some centers in Denmark, here in Austria. So I came as a teaching tour. So this is my first time to here, Holland. I'm enjoying it, everything. So today I think I will speak a little bit about the Dharma or the spiritual practice, why we need to practice Dharma, or why we practice Dharma, and then maybe later what it really is, and then maybe at the end I will say a few things about how we can practice in our daily life, or how we can balance our daily life experience with a little bit of Dharma, or so that we can say maybe how to integrate and make some easier life, so to speak. Make life a little bit easier. So why we practice Dharma? Maybe I will give you a short Dharma is a term, Sanskrit term, for the spiritual practice. In this context, they say Buddhism, and Buddhism is based on Buddha Shakyamuni's his experience, his teachings, and then his lineage. And generally we say that when we say Buddhism, there are three things. We say that Buddha as a teacher, or someone who shows us a path, direction, And Dharma, his teachings, his lineage, or his approach is called the Dharma. And the second, and the third, the people after the Buddha who came and still now, who are interested in Dharma, who are preserving the Dharma and the lineage, are called Sangha. So these are we call the three jewels, or three main components of Buddhism. So when you talk about Buddhism, we have Buddha as a teacher, Dharma as a path that we walk on, and the Sangha, or the community, or the spiritual friend, who are as the living examples, who shows us the path and tells us how to do it properly. And in Sutra, Buddha said that when you practice Dharma, there are some considerations, or there are some motivations that you should have. And he said that consider yourself as someone who is like a sick person. So that means, let's say if you are physically having some problems and you don't want it, and you want to get rid of it, and you do something, you go to doctor, you do checkup, and you recognize what is your disease, and then doctor will prescribe you some medicines according to your sickness, right? That's what we do. So we get rid out of this sickness following those process. Similarly, when you practice Dharma, you should always have these understandings or attitudes that I am someone who has some ignorance, disturbing emotions, and basically the unsatisfactory state of mind. Right? So of course, some have more suffering, some have less suffering, but we all have some sufferings always there. And second thing is, consider the Buddha or as a skillful doctors, and who have a knowledge, who have compassion, and who have a skill. So for example, how do we trust the doctor? He has to have certain things, that he has to have a knowledge of what is our problem, what is our solution, and he has to have some wanting to help, right? Compassion. And then he has to have some tools or skills to do that. And when you have this, all three things, and then we can make sure that if I go to this doctor, there's almost like guarantee that he can help me. So similarly, when you take refuge to the Buddha, or when you practice the Dharma, and you have to understand that Buddha had those qualities. And if you go, if you follow the path, and you will reach to the results that we are looking for. The most important thing he said is that I am just a doctor, I am not a medicine. Yeah? So that means, yes, you should take refuge to me, but the remedy, the actual medicine is Dharma, or my teachings. I cannot pull you up. You have to follow what I say. So he said that actually Dharma is even more important than Buddha himself. For example, doctor is important, of course, but the actual antidote for our sickness is medicine. So he said, I show you the path, but then it's really up to you. You have to walk by yourself. So in the Buddhism, we say that the ultimate refuge is Dharma. Similar, when you take the medicine, the actual important thing is medicine. Now the important part is that you should know how to take it properly, right? You go to doctor, and if you don't follow the doctor's advice, then it won't cure your disease. Similarly, even we take refuge in the Buddha, but if you don't practice the Dharma, then our disturbing emotions and our ignorance and our suffering will be not reduced, because you didn't took the medicine. You went to doctor, you didn't took the medicine. So, and also it's important that you should not take an overdose. Because sometimes we try to take like Dharma, and at the same time too much Dharma, then it makes it a little bit difficult. Because our body is not prepared for that kind of thing. Similarly, our mind is not prepared for that kind of thing. So it's important to follow the structure. So there's a proper structure. So you should do this first, and then you move to the second and the third. Yeah. Similarly, when you take the medicine, of course, all of them are medicine. They are meant to help you. But if you eat all of them same time, then not much help. Similarly, if doctor says you should eat this in 1 week, and then you put too much gap, right? If you eat this 1 day, and then you don't take medicine for 4 or 5 days, then you take 1 pill, then it's too less. Similarly, Dharma also, it should not be too much, or it should not be too less. Because if it's too much, your mind cannot take it. And if it's too less, then the effect won't be there, because the power is not enough. So there are certain structures, certain process. It is shown quite clearly how if you follow the step by step, it will eliminate our inner diseases, which are disturbing emotions and so forth. So he said those things, that these are some considerations you should always remember when you practice. But now the question is that, are we really sick or not yet? If we are not sick, then it's not necessary to go to doctor. So I think it depends on what do we mean by sick, right? We might be having some physical sickness, of course, like headache, these kind of things, and then we might be having some inner problems. Physically speaking, some of us sick, but many of us are okay. But mentally speaking, from the Buddhist point of view, we all are sick in a way, because we are always have this disease of hope and fear. Right? So hope and fear, maybe sometimes we have quite strong, sometimes we feel okay, but it is always there. So nobody is free from the sickness of hope and fear. So according to that, we are all like having some, and we call it suffering, but so Buddha, the very basic foundation of his teaching is known as the Four Noble Truths. And he says very simple that recognize or understand the problem. And you should abandon the cause of problem. So there's a problem and there's a reason of that, and these are related. But you cannot just run out of problem as long as you don't give up the cause of problem. And these are called the truth of suffering, which is the problem, and the second one is called truth of origin, means the origin of suffering. So these two are something to be recognized, understood, and something to be abandoned, that is cause of suffering. And now question is it really possible to abandon that cause of suffering forever? And then from the Buddhist point of view, we believe that it is possible, because somehow everything comes down to our mind, and our mind is transformable. We can transform our mind, and through transforming our mind we can be completely free from the cause of problem. And this is called the truth of path, the process of transformation. It's called the third truth of path. And when you are completely free from the suffering as well as the cause of suffering, and that state is called truth of cessation, which means all the problems and the causes of problems are completely ceased. So you have two negatives, problem and cause of problem, and then you have two positives, the solution and the result of solution. So two things that you should accept it, and two things that you should be rejecting. So this is the process. I think if you look in our daily life, we are following these four processes. Yeah, we all are doing the same thing. For example, when I get hungry, it's a suffering, it's a problem. Yeah, but then I look at why I get hungry, because I didn't eat my food. And then I know that if I eat food, I will be satisfied. So I will go to kitchen, yeah, and then make some food. And of course, I know good taste, bad taste. So I will try to make it as good as possible. But not only that, but I will also make sure that it looks good, smells good. And then I will enjoy the food, and then you get satisfied, and that's it. Yeah. So if you look at, actually Four Noble Truths is also happening in there. So whether it's simple thing like the food, or whether you want to do something very big project, this works same. So problem, cause of problem, solution, and the result. We're all doing this. Now, so what is different between Buddha and us? The Buddha is also, actually the goal is same. Buddha is also saying that there's suffering, you should get rid of suffering. Yeah. And everybody is doing the same, yeah, from morning to here. And even why we are here, because we want to get rid of some problems, and that's why we come here, right? Me and to everybody. So are we really getting what we are looking for? That's the question, right? But it depends on, for example, Buddha says that the goal is same, but actually how we do it is must be different. So Buddha saying that it's fine that you're looking for happiness, but actually you are almost going towards the suffering. That's the problem. It's almost like, for example, we are looking for happiness, but we're looking at the wrong place. Like we're just looking happiness outside. That's the problem. We're looking for the solution. Again, we're not looking solution from the inside, looking solution at the outside. So goal is same, but how we do is one. Buddha is focusing inside and we are focusing outside. That's the difference. So that's why maybe we buy things, we build things, we invent things. All these are to gain more happiness and reduce our suffering. Yes, of course, we have reduced a lot of suffering and we have gained a lot of happiness, but still, is it really like, did we reach to the point? Yeah, it's still very difficult. For example, desire. We believe that desire is not a cause of suffering, it's a cause of happiness. So that's why if you satisfy more and more desire, it means happiness, isn't it? In our normal life. But Buddha says that no, actually the contentment is the cause of happiness, not the desire. So it's almost the opposite. So we almost recognize the cause of suffering as a cause of happiness, and we follow after that, and then we reach some here and there, but we never reach to the, how to say, independent happiness. For example, suffering, they say there's three kinds of suffering. So we say suffering, general suffering means, when you have headache, when you have these problems, we recognize that. But the second suffering, it is suffering, but we take it as a happiness, such as fame or material gain. These are because this will going to be changed, and it takes a lot of energy to accumulate, and then it takes a lot of energy to protect, and it takes a lot of energy to how to say, when you have to get out, when you are apart, when you become apart from it, it's not easy, it's very difficult. But of course we accumulate and we think that this is happiness, ultimate happiness, and we put a lot of time, energy, effort in that. And the third suffering is, as I told, that is a very subtle one, whether it doesn't really matter whether you're a human being or other sentient beings. But the moment you are born, we are almost like born within this hope and fear. So you have hope and fear. It is good because it helps you to survive, but this is the main sort of almost like engines us to drive, and then sometimes over hope, sometimes over fear, and of course we suffer a lot. So the basic Buddha's advice for in our daily life is that, first of all, it is very important to know that where this, when you say I, I am suffering, I am happy, we say I. What do we really mean by it? It's important to know that. So you will find that in Dharma, when you study and when you practice, lots of these things are actually studying of this me, what this really mean? Can I work with it? Most of the time we don't have time to think about it. So when we say, I want to be happy, or maybe, probably you have heard this, there was one person came to Buddha and he said, Buddha, please give me very short, quick instruction. I want to be happy. He said, I really, really want to be happy. And the Buddha said, well, sure. You just take out the I, that's the ego. And then just leave the want, that's the desire. And then whatever left is the happiness. So I think that's a very quick instruction. Many times we want to be happy, but there's too many I, too many want. And actually this I and wants are almost saying that I don't want happiness. We're going right and left, happiness is almost left in the middle. But we believe that there's more I will be closer to happiness. And more want, I will be closer to happiness. Right? So it could be individually in our life. Even if we look at that, we really don't know what we need and what we want, right? And especially we live in this so-called modern consumerism world where everything is so much affected by many things. And I think not knowing what we need, what we want, and we confuse, and many times we think that we need it, but actually we don't. We want, but we don't need them, and then takes so much time, energy to maintain that kind of things. And then of course, so from the Buddhist point of view, this I is called the obscuration of cognitive obscurations. That means the very basic ignorance, not knowing nature of I. And this one desire is so-called the disturbing emotions, the obscurations of disturbing emotions, which means that the moment you have that, it will disturb you. It will trigger our hope and fear, and then it will trigger us to involve in something that is not necessary, that is not, you can say almost 20%. And 80% suffering and happiness comes from mind. But we are quite good taking care of our bodies, such as like when you wake up in the morning and you take shower, it's for your body. We go to brush our teeth, again it's the body. We take our food, it's for body. And then we put on nice clothes, again it's for body. And if you look at in our daily life, we do take care of our body, but actually we don't take care of our mind. That's the big problem. Since mind is the main source of our happiness and suffering. So Buddha says that if you really want to be happy, it's very, very important to take care of your mind. When you don't do that, then you're almost looking at the wrong place for the happiness, and at the solution at the wrong place. So if you look at the teachings of Dharma and the practice, it's quite simple actually. It's just saying that know your mind, how it works, and then take care of your mind. That's it. Yeah. Quite simple. Why? Because since our happiness and suffering depends a lot on mind, and it is very practical to take care of our mind. If you don't take care of your mind and then say, I want to be happy, or even you say, like, if you look at, say, quality of life, right? What we really mean by that. If you take care of your mind, then no matter which condition you are, you can make your life quite a good quality. If you don't take care of our mind, and no matter what kind of outer or the physical conditions that you are in, I don't think that you will have a quality of life. It's very difficult because the so-called the unsatisfactory state of mind will be always there, and sometimes even is much more worse. And similarly, we talk about the so-called the meaning of life, right? What is the meaning of life? And it's quite simple actually. There's no one meaning of life, but you create the meaning of life. You define the meaning of life by taking care of yourself. If you try to look the meaning of life like as a one answer to one question, you will never find it, right? Because there is no one answer. So, for example, understanding the very basic Four Noble Truths, it gives you quite a good idea of what is life. And then if you follow the path, it will give you quite a good ideas of who you are, where you should go, and how you can make your life meaningful and quality life. So in fact, just term in Tibetan for the Buddhists we call Nangpa, which literally means the insiders. That means the one who believes that whether it is problem or solution, whether it is happiness or suffering, comes from inside. So you should recognize that, and also you should find the solutions from the inside. So how to take care of our mind? There are many approaches, not many approaches, but there are many methods. Some are more physical approach, some are more direct approach. And for example, in our tradition, we use a lot of, especially in Vajrayana, Mahayana, we use a lot of these so-called skillful paths. So all these are again taking care of your mind, but very skillfully. And there are some techniques that you can just go and work with your mind directly. And this is another way. But Buddha always says that during the journey, the most important thing is to follow the middle way. If you follow the middle way, anything can be a path. But if you fall into the extremes, even the path can be obstacles. Right? So, for example, even just very simple thing, that eating. If you eat in the middle way, it's good, it helps you. But if you eat it with the extreme, whether you don't eat for so long or you eat too much, then it becomes obstacles. And similar with even medicine, yeah. If you follow the middle way, medicine becomes medicine. But if you use the medicine as extreme way, similar with even path. So we call them middle way view, middle way meditation, and middle way contact is important. And of course it depends what is middle way in terms of different states of our mind, the definition of middle way. So Buddha says that it's important to understand how everything comes down to the mind. This is our first thing. And the second thing is knowing how to work with the mind. So for example, the meditation is nothing but the taking care of our mind and working with the mind very carefully, because our mind is very sensitive, and when you try to work with mind, you have to be careful and be patient. So meditation is just knowing how to work with our mind. So to work with mind, first we have to know that how the mind functions, right? So once you know how our mind functions, then you know how to work with it. So for example, we have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind, or let's say unconscious mind. And we say that our conscious mind is like a very clever person, but he has only head, no body, right? So he's very clever. He knows what is right, what is wrong, what should do, what should not do. But when it comes to really reacting or acting, he's completely powerless. And our subconscious mind is very strong. He's like a very strong person, but with no head, just body. And he just goes here, goes there, bumps here and there, very powerful, but he really don't know what is right and what is wrong. So when you practice, actually what you're doing is that when you say meditation, means you're just actually connecting your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. Now our conscious mind and subconscious mind is very much like disconnected, right? That's why, for example, like junk food, right? Junk food is very like everybody like very famous and everywhere. But if you ask person to person, like it's there's 10 person, and you ask them, say, is it good to eat junk food? No, you should not eat it. Yeah, we all know that. Maybe if you ask 10 person, 9 out of 10 will be saying you should not eat that. It's not good for your health and this and that. But it's one of the big business because people are eating, right? Why? Like similar with the smoking and drinking. Yeah, smoking is one of the very big business. It's not that we smoke because we don't know what's the effect. Of course not. We know very well what happens to our body, what happens to so many things, but we do it. So when you ask someone, say, is it good to smoke? He will say, no, you should not do it. So actually his conscious mind is talking, right? But when you become a little bit stressed and you just, go your hand into the bag and take out the piece of to it, and then your subconscious mind is working. Conscious mind is nowhere. So we are almost like disconnected here. I mean, I'm metaphorically speaking, yeah. So similarly, we always wanted to be something or do something, but something happens differently, yeah. And we feel a little bit bad. Let's say I wanted to get out of bed every 5 o'clock, but then always 6 o'clock. Or you wanted to finish this in 1 week, and then always in 2nd week, 3rd week, a month. So why it happens like that? Because our conscious mind, as I told you, that he's clever, but he's not powerful. Our subconscious mind is very powerful, but it's not clever enough. Now, unfortunately, we cannot really talk directly to our subconscious mind. It's almost impossible because he is quite stupid. Yeah? And if you try to talk 1 time, 2 times, he won't listen. It doesn't really matter. So our result depends on how we react, our actions, right? And then our action comes from our subconscious mind. That's what I'm talking about, the smoking, right? And similarly also, even I was, I think this morning talking with a lady that, for example, I know that I should not drink Coca-Cola. You know, I know very well, but when I'm thirsty, I cannot stop. You know, and I see this cold Coca-Cola in the fridge. There's no way. So almost I have this contradict in myself, you know, and we all have that, yeah. Maybe some are more in the subconscious, some are more in the conscious. Now, so this is how our mind works basically. I mean, there are many different, but if you very generally, if you categorize, this is how our mind works. So if you want to change the result, you have to change the action. So, for example, me, I make a kind of my own discipline so that I won't put Coca-Cola in my place, you know, I won't do it, but I will drink it when I go out or when I go to someone else's place. So at least I can like reduce. So something you can slowly work it, because your subconscious mind is not easy. It takes time. So you really have to be skillful, work slowly. And that's exactly what we are doing in the meditation. That our conscious mind knows right and wrong, but our subconscious mind, he doesn't. He's not convinced. So when you do a meditation, actually you are sending a right message to your subconscious mind and telling him that what is healthy, what is unhealthy, what is calm and what is disturbed. And when you do that again and again, actually the term meditation in Tibetan is called gong. It literally means that you are trying to become familiar with something by doing it again and again. So when you practice in general, especially meditate, you're sending all these right positive message from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind and convincing your subconscious mind what is right and what is wrong. And it doesn't happen immediately, it takes time, but when you do it more and more, and then slowly your subconscious mind will be transformed, you'll be convinced. So for example, now my view, my perception of, let's say, the Coca-Cola is like, oh, nice, delicious, chill drink, yeah? That's what I see, that's what I perceive. If this is my subconscious mind belief, I cannot do much. That's what it is for him, for me. But once my subconscious mind is convinced that this is not good, and I won't see this black, I see like lots of chemical, unhealthy thing there, you should not put it in your body, right? So once I see that kind of view I have, then it's easy that I can stop drinking it. So in Buddhism, we talk a lot about view. Means when you look at something, your reaction is triggered by what you see. And of course, I cannot change the object, but I can change how I react to this. So it doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is what is my view, right? So for example, I cannot change the Coca-Cola, yeah? That's the thing. But I can change my view. That's what matters to me. It's not that I have to go and close all the Coca-Cola shops in the world, you know. I cannot do it, or that's not practical. But I can change my view and stop. And that's why in the Buddhism we study a lot, because we have lots of wrong views, mistaken views. And because of that, we cannot stop going after that. Attachment, anger, jealousy, so many things. So once you have a right view, all your reactions also become positive. And the problem is that when you have a wrong view, wrong reaction, and it disturbs you, suffer. When you have a right view, right reactions, and you will have this right kind of experiences. So now there's one verse, Buddha in the Dhammapada, where he puts all his teachings, and it says that everything comes down to the mind, and there's two kind of parts in our mind. One, there's a positive qualities, and one, there's a negative disturb. So all you have to do is that reduce the negativity and develop the positive qualities. Now we have the quality in our mind, and we have some obscurations in our mind. So all you just do is that recognize what is positive and what is negative, reduce the negative aspects of our mind, and develop the positive qualities of our mind, and that's it. This is he says at the end that this is the essence of the teachings, or essence of my teaching. So basically, when you study Buddhism, when you practice Buddhism, or let's say Dharma in general, this is all what we're doing. We need to take care of our mind, and then you recognize how your mind works, and then you learn how to work properly, and then you just practice, because it doesn't happen in 1 day or 2 days. It takes time, and then you slowly when you transform, not just consciously, subconsciously, and this is called Dharma, because the word Dharma means something that is being transformed through practice, and it also means that you can be protected by transforming yourself. Now, generally, how to practice in Buddhism, we say that studying meditation, studying contemplation and the meditation. So 3 stages. Because there are 3 kinds of obscurations that we have, and that's why our conscious mind and subconscious mind is not connected. Something is disconnected happening between. The first one is called the obscurations of ignorance. That means really not knowing what is right, wrong, and what is the, let's say, believing that actually more desire is the cause of happiness, these kind of things. And second thing is, even you know something, but there will be lots of doubts. Is it not? So this doubt is second obscuration. And the third one is not being able to experience it. You just put it in the conscious level. Yeah. For example, you learn about something, but you don't experience it. Just having this conceptual thoughts is not enough. So that's why we need these 3: studying, contemplation, and meditation. We call the 3 kind of wisdom. So first, the wisdom that comes from studying will eliminate the first obscuration, that is obscuration of ignorance of not knowing. So when you study, you know, oh, so this is like that, okay, this is suffering, okay, this is happiness. You know something, I don't know. And the second contemplation will kind of clarify some doubts. When you get information, but then you have a lot of doubt, not sure. So when you contemplate, many doubts will come down. So now the contemplation is not just thinking, but actually it's like kind of trying to experience it. Yeah, this is what we call it, contemplation. And the meditation, of course, as I said, that meditation is, so you have this so-called understanding level, experience level, and the realizations level. So for example, when we say something, we understand, yeah? It's very superficial level, conscious level. And when you try to contemplate a little bit, and this understanding will become a little bit of experience. Yeah? Oh, it's like that. Huh? So it's not just idea, but something that actually you are experiencing it. And this is almost, this experience is almost between our conscious and subconscious mind. It's important. It makes some links. And the realization. So realization is almost happens when you do meditation at the end of the result of your meditation. And they say, wow, this is like that. There's no doubt. Yeah? So this becomes my view. So when you have this like proper, pure clarity view about what it is, this is called realization. So you start with study, and then you contemplate a little bit, and then you meditate on it, and slowly our understanding, understanding will transform into the experience, and this experience will become a realization. And when the realizations happens in our subconscious mind, then everything changes around us, and you react according to it. And then of course we are creating these patterns, yeah? Patterns like positive patterns. So this is very general, so like you can say like a process or the structure of the whole path. And when you do meditation, there's many kind of, but normally we say that there's two qualities we have in our mind. One is calmness and one is clarity. So there are some meditations that are more focused on the calmness aspect of our mind, because if our mind is not calm, then it cannot be clear. So for example, shamatha and many other meditations, they are more focused on the calmness aspects of our mind. And there are some aspects of meditation which are more focused on the clarity aspects of mind, so-called vipassana and something like that. But they are very related, because if your mind is calm, almost there's automatically some clarity. And without calmness, clarity will be very difficult. So when your mind is not calm, there's no clarity. And when there's no clarity, your mind becomes distorted. It creates more and more like this cycle of disturbing emotions. So it is suggested that when you practice meditation, you start with the calmness, and then slowly you go into the clarity. And for example, the breathing meditation, sitting meditation, even walking meditation, all these are focusing on the calmness aspects of mind. And When our mind is not calm, it's disturbed. And when our mind is calm, it is not disturbed. And I think when we say I'm suffering, actually that is almost another name of disturbed. When your mind is disturbed, and we call it I'm suffering from the mental point of view. And when your mind is calm, we say I'm happy. But sometimes you're completely influenced by hope and fear, and actually sometimes we feel that that's also happiness, but that's not true. It is just you're going to the more suffering, but we might define or identify them as a happiness. And so in our daily life, suffering and happiness is something that we are dealing with, and it's important to know where to look at the right place. And when we say I, we're talking about our physical world and our mental world, and it's important to take care of our mind. And that's why somehow actually the practice or meditation or Dharma is relevant, because we all have mind, and we all wanted to have a healthy mind. There's no question there. And even if you wanted to have a quality of life, it's important to have a healthy mind, because without a healthy mind, it's impossible to have a quality of life. And then of course from the spiritual point of view, there's a lot, enlightenment, these and that, realizations, but maybe that will come later. But generally, if you look at it in our normal life, and these are, I think, how to follow the middle way, how to take care of our the mundane world and spiritual world, let's say the physical world and the mental world, without not being into the one extremes. And so understanding that everything comes down to the mind and how to work with mind properly. And I think if we follow those advices, maybe even if you don't believe in the enlightenment and these kind of things, but I think it can make your life quite knowing what you should do and how to define your own kind of life and having some kind of structure in your life. So instead of thinking too much, asking questions or searching questions from outside, answers from outside, you can create your own answer, which is more practical and suitable for our life. And I think you will become a really good person in general and if you follow those things. And I'm not sure about the enlightenment, but I think you can die happily, thinking like, oh, it was good life. And I think that's quite good enough, isn't it? Individually and society also, because if you are one person is happy, and then all around automatically you can influence a lot, directly, indirectly. And so a person after that, then we can explore much more about spiritual world, enlightenment. So what I was trying to say is that why we need Dharma, because we are a human being and we have mind, and it's important to take care of our mind. And in Dharma, all you do is knowing how to take care of what is mind, how it works, and how to take care of mind. And general process is that some kind of, since we have this conscious mind, subconscious mind, and when it's disconnected, so many problems might happen. So it's important to have this good connection between our conscious mind and subconscious mind, so that we have right view and right action and right result. And to do that, we have study, contemplation, and meditation. Or in general, you can say that practically speaking, you need a knowledge, structure, and continuity. These three things. So, for example, without knowledge, it's important. It's impossible to go. But it doesn't mean that you have to know everything. Yeah, no, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know what is necessary. But knowing itself doesn't make much. Yeah, so it's just conscious mind. So we have to work with subconscious mind. So that you need structure. You can follow general structure, or you can make your own structure. Let's say I will practice 5 minutes every day, morning, or something like that. Simple meditation. Or let's say if you get angry 10 times a day, okay, I will make it 8 times a day, something like that. Really like practical structures, not like I want to do meditation and I will fly after a month. That's not going to happen. I will go to Nepal and then, it's not like that. So, preparing is good, but if you prepare too much, then also it's not good. It happens a lot, overprepare. So I think in the West, especially, you have this, everything you do very precisely, yeah? So you think, first I learn everything about meditation, then I will do proper meditation. But that's not going to happen. You cannot learn meditation about everything. Of course, yeah, it's good to learn some, and then you have to do it. It's like learning how to drive a car, yeah? You cannot learn everything before you drive and then see, okay, now it's impossible. So working with mind is also like that. You really have to start from somewhere. And you can make your own structure, practical structure, long term and short term. And now important thing is continuity. Because I think generally we are very short term, yeah? Especially sometimes we think like meditation or spiritual path also like we're doing business. Like, okay, I will do this pen and then I will get this much profit in this month. But it really doesn't work that way when you work with your mind. So it takes time. So it's important to be patient. And also, especially when you are really meditating, the thing is like, it goes easy, oh, interesting, I like it. And then some, it goes very difficult. Wow, so many thoughts. Oh, I cannot do this. Yeah. And actually this, and also frustration, a little bit of disappointment will happen there. It's like this, goes very high, and comes down, and then it goes like this. So many times we give up in this, this level, the first one. Because actually when you're working with your mind, then you recognize more and more problems of your mind. And then you feel like it's like almost hopeless. Yeah? So many thoughts, so strong habits. But actually this is the result of your practice. Because if you practice and nothing happens, that means actually you are not skinning your mind. If you practice, and we call it the moment of recognizing a thought. So actually when you feel a little bit frustration, disappointment, that means you're really recognizing the patterns of your mind. It's a good sign. But if you give up that, then you always stop there. So, but it won't be like that always. If you push, it doesn't really matter whether you like it or not like it. Many times we say, I'd like to do meditation because I like it or I don't like it. Well, sometimes you might like it, sometimes you might not like it. It depends on how you do it. But important thing is you have to keep the continuity pattern. Right? It's like going to the gym. sometimes seems like muscles coming out, and next day there's not there. But you have to do it continually, yeah? If you have like proper, otherwise it will never happen. So the same like in mind. And you just do, but don't think too much about the result, at least certain time, don't evaluate. Then you will see, you have to wait. So patience and continuity is important. So knowledge, structure and continuity. And when you have these three things, then I would say you're quite okay, I would say. And then of course, if you have a teacher or a guru and those kind of things, might be very, very helpful. Eventually, maybe not at the very beginning, but to explore more inner part of mental states, and lots of instructions, big instructions here and there. If you know the general part, then that's good. And then normally we say that discipline, concentration, and the wisdom. So these are the three parts of our path when you practice Dharma. You start with the discipline, and then you do the concentration. Slowly, and then you move to the wisdom part of your mind. Then another thing is that there is certain thing we call skillful means. For example, where should meditate? Yeah, of course we need proper temperature, nice cushion, maybe meal nice, that will help you. But it should not be too much that you always look at the right place for meditation, that becomes a problem. And so you have to know this balance between the condition and the mind itself. It is good to follow the condition, but not too much stuck in the conditions. And then slowly, you can meditate in everywhere. Yeah? But it is always good to have some kind of rhythm. So for example, if you are meditating 5 minutes in the morning, certain time, you should do it, because it creates more strong pattern in our mind. If you keep changing here and there, the pattern is not there. But also you have to do it in opposite. For example, normally we meditate in the weekend, right? When you are very calm and easy time, then I will meditate. It's good to start. But actually, when you're really disturbed, maybe Monday morning is good time to meditate instead of Saturday and Sunday. So it's good to start with Saturday and Sunday, but then you have this, okay, so more problem, now it's time to meditate. Not like I wait for a calm condition or a calm mind, then I will meditate. So these are certain things that you can follow. And the very basic rule of meditation is that, maybe there's many, but you can say that you are not blocking thought. Yeah. But at the same time, you're not following the thought. Okay? Because when I say you should not block thought, maybe you hear like, okay, so that means should I follow my thought? Yeah? No. So it's very basic is that don't block the thoughts. Just be aware and observe, but don't follow the thoughts. Try to remain in between. Yeah? The general idea of meditation, working with the mind. Then of course there are other things, for example, meditation on the breathing, meditation on the mindfulness of body, sensation. You can try and see whichever is relevant for you. You can go ahead. And start with something easy and then go to a little difficult. The best thing I found is like mind-body together. For example, when you are sitting, your mind should also be sitting. Yeah? So when I'm looking at the book, my mind should also be looking at the book. So it's not like you are sitting in the car, then your mind is already in the kitchen and cooking something. Right? Most of the time, that's what happens to with us. Maybe you're drinking a very nice coffee, but then your mind is checking email or something like that, worrying about tomorrow, yesterday. And that's because then you don't taste the coffee, yeah? That's very sad, because especially if the coffee is expensive one. You really taste it properly, then feel the cup, smell, aroma, this way. So these are you can do. For example, if you're walking, your mind also working together. So keep your mind with your body and your action, whatever you're doing. So this is, at the beginning it might give you a little bit like this, like a little bit, how to say, not be aware, but actually it will give you much more clarity later. So at the beginning it might seem like I cannot multitask if I do this, but that's not true. There's a difference between multitasking and completely distracting. So you can be a multitask without being distracted. And of course, the emotions whenever happens to the inside, and look at them and see whether it helps you or it harms you. If there's certain emotions that harms you, then just try not to do that, and see what triggers that emotions. If there's some emotions that makes you happy, or if that makes you kind of like calm, follow that and see what is the condition, what I can improve that. So it's not very difficult, because your emotion is yours, you know it very well. It's not that difficult. But mostly we don't do that, we just follow the emotion, that's the problem. So you have to observe and then see, there must be some space and make decision. And I think whenever you feel like, I want to be happy, or why I'm suffering, I don't want to be suffer, and at this, just relax, and don't think too much about this I and want. Okay? And then it will calm down. Okay, so so maybe if you have any questions or anything, we can discuss for a few minutes. I'm not sure if you understand my English.
No,
is it okay?
Very good.
Okay.
There's one thing I always wonder about. When Buddhists say body, speech and mind, they do like this: body, speech and mind. And your mind is also here. Our mind is here.
Yes.
But how does it work?
Yeah. I think it's the gesture and symbolism are very much depends on the culture thing, For example, even why we do like this is Indian, Asian thing as a good symbolism. And for like clapping is good in West, but for us it's very bad.
Yes.
When we say clap, it means like, please take all my negatives to you. We do this puja. So whenever I sometimes go to teaching and people clap at the end, we have this puja, and at the end we clap, and that means almost like purifying the negativity. So anyway, so this in Buddhism, especially in generally in Asia, Asia, I would say we believe that our mind is separate than there's a brain, something they have this culture thing. And then mind is somewhere near the heart. Heart is. So it is believed. So that's why they always point when we talk about mind, it's here. From the Buddhist point of view, we believe that the brain is important organ of our body, but the brain is not mind. So we believe that there's something called mind that is different than the nature of brain, but of course brain is very closely working with our mind. The thing is that in Buddhist we have this physical like gross body, flesh and this kind of things, and then we have subtle body inside of it. So subtle body has a special kind of points, where the emotions arises, where the wisdoms arises. So we call these so-called chakras, different 4, 6 chakras. And this is one influenced by this body, speech and mind. So we call the speech chakra, this kind of thing. So that's why you point out here, here and here. So we say that there's some point, energy point. It can be blocked, it can be open, and then it can be positive, it can be negative. So it's true. In our culture, whenever we say mind, we point here in the West. So I think in the West, you have more strong idea of conscious mind, so to speak. And in Asia, we work more with our subconscious mind. In a way. And of course, in the West, from the scientific point of view, everything is brain, right? So there's no like separate thing.
So like I think many young people also, they not only young, older people also, they have kind of trouble with addiction, and even they are sometimes a long time on the path, like Buddhist path maybe, then consciously they know very well it's no good what I'm doing. I'm eating too much, I'm using too much alcohol, or these kind of things. But then like what would be your kind of like your advice for people who really struggle with these kind of things?
Now the most important thing is convincing your subconscious mind, right? When you have addicted, means that's completely disconnected, and your subconscious mind is very, very strong. Now, to do that, the first step is changing of view. You have to work with the view. So, for example, I give you my problem with Coca-Cola. So now, when I see Coca-Cola, I don't see all these chemical, things. I think, wow, nice, like healthy, delicious drink. That's my problem. But that's not true. That's my view of subconscious mind. So I have to change that. And when I see this object, I have to see like lots of chemicals, something like that, instead of delicious, healthy drink. So when you change that, then you can change your subconscious mind. So view, changing the view is very important.
Repeat it.
Repeat it. It takes some time. So you have to be some. Then you can do some technical things like, for example, I try not to buy Coca-Cola in my place. I only drink when I go outside. Something. This is something you can do. At least make some distance of your habits. Or if you are smoking, then make some like, okay, I will smoke maybe certain kind of numbers. Reduce. Or I will only smoke outside or something like that. Okay, so if we don't have questions, maybe we'll meditate for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah? And then I will dedicate. So the meditation technique, let's say, it says that physically it should not be too tight, too loose, and also mentally your mind should not be too agitated, too dull. So it should be kind of like in middle. So middle way, mind, middle way, body is like the basic rule of meditation. some short dedication prayer. Sunam Diyan Tamche Sepa Dome Nipen Ranam Pamche Kegai Nache Palai Dupa Sebe Sole Dobai Dobai Sho Janju Sanju Rimpoche Maje Banam Kekir Kebai Nyambara Mebai Bone Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.